So police, Baltimore police, Philadelphia police, they're all under contract with the Crown of England,
Right.
and most of them have been given sufficient notice to resign. They are the enemy of the state now. Just
Right.
like they did us. Now it's our turn to do it to them, but we ain't
Right.
gonna do shit. We gonna let our military do it because that's what they're here for.
Right.
This is why a couple weeks ago, um, they had this executive order issue saying that they can use the military can use deadly force in support of the local law enforcement,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which in this case is going to end up being the National Guard and local sheriff departments because the sheriff is elected by, right? But he's picked by general consensus of the impression given to the people,
Right.
right? So the qualifications to enforce the law, all of them state troopers, those are all state troopers.
Highwaymen.
All state troopers are Canadian Mounties,
Pirates.
Canadian Mounted Police, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's who the state troopers are.
Go
Look
ahead.
at their hats,
That's right. Go ahead, Rod.
and they doing the same job. They just working for. All of them are working for foreign agents. The only ones that think they're working for us is the sheriff,
Right.
the U.S. Marshal, supposed to be that's appointed by the president,
Right.
right? But U.S. Marshal was picked from duly elected sheriffs,
That's right.
right? So that means that the people's will is more important than the corporate desires of a foreign legal entity that's trying to control the people on the land. Once we understand what's going on, crime just gonna stop.
Right.
It's just gonna stop because people gonna be like, hold up, wait a minute,
They just getting paid off
right?
of it.
It won't be financially lucrative anymore. And it would be socially ostracized for you to do that to the point of the natural nature of the human will come back to the forefront, leading with love, but mastering the throat punch.
Hey, Rod, may I add a ping right here? Because and you can go in on this. I noticed that the FBI can't really arrest you. Every time the FBI come, they bring the sheriff with them, and the sheriff arrests you. Not the FBI. The FBI can't even arrest you. Did you know that? The
So they
FBI.
got they got they got policing powers. They used to didn't when they was first formed. They didn't have policing powers. They didn't even used to carry guns,
Yeah, go ahead.
right? But under the 1933 Warring with the Peoples Act, they was giving them um, policing powers and issue firearms.
Go ahead.
Like Elliot Ness didn't have a gun. They was just pencil pushers and paper pushers back then. They used to call them G-men,
Go ahead. Yep, I remember. Go
right?
ahead.
So they was given federal policing powers as a federal investigative agency, and they made it a federal investigative agency in order to be able to put more resources into the development of crime scene analysis, psycho and social analysis of people. All of this dirt that they've been doing, that they needed the access to the public funding to get that, and without the policing powers to support the state fraud, they couldn't have it. Remember, a license is permission to do something that's wrong, that's illegal.
Hey, say that again for him, Rod.
A license is permission to do something that's illegal. Your
Damn.
ID and your driver's license are slave papers in the modern times. You just don't know it. It's not that we opposed to have an ID because it makes sense for a functional um, government to have communication with each other and exchanging the goods and services. ID, but it shouldn't be controlled by people that's trading the application as a bond on the secret market, right? So that's where the problem come in. If the money is going to be made off your ID, you should be the one making it. Government shouldn't be making it. You should,
That's
especially
right.
when the government declare war on the people.
That's right. 1933. The American people are the enemy, and they get to loot whatever they collect and steal from us. They get a cut. The lawyers, the judges, all of them, whatever they take from us, they get a cut on it, and then they know they pass. They pass it up to the bar. They pass it up to the bar, which is the laws of London, but they get a kickback on it for stealing from us.
So
Pirates,
the lords are of London is actually another gentry line of royalty, right? And they are the ones who own the insurance companies. The insurance company's model is based on lords of London. You ever hear somebody getting $1 million insurance on their leg or something like that? They go
yeah,
to Lords of London. That's
yeah,
because they in charge of whatever the insurance is. If you can pay the premium, and sometimes it's a one-time premium,
yeah.
right? Why do insurance companies have you repeatedly paying on a one-time premium?
Go ahead.
I open up a Roth IRA in your name, but you don't know it. Your premiums is your add-ins to your Roth.
Go ahead.
Then they use the profit to buy interest-bearing CDs, which is cash deposits, which is like government bonds. And they pay out every so often that goes into the IRA.
Dang.
If you change insurance companies, the new insurance company becomes the one who manages this IRA. And they continue to put your auto insurance premium, life insurance premium, your house insurance premium into that Roth IRA, bearing interest, mind you. They say by the time the average person been on have paying insurance for 20 years, they have like a $500 million in there.
Yeah, yeah. This is the game because it's every $10 you give them, they can make 100.
Mm-mm.
So the whole
Well,
time,
remember they compound in interest. You got to know how the interest system works for the fractional reserve in order to that $1 to get them 100,
damn.
because they get interest on the CD, interest on the IRA,
Yeah.
right? And being based on the classification of the account, if it's an insurance adjusted account through FDIC, that can do what's called lend notes. They writing promissory notes on bank paper in your name, sending them to the Federal Reserve to even pad it more. Because once you gone, they cash it in.
Damn, boy, these people
Nobody
dirty.
ain't here to nobody ain't here to administer your estate.
Nope.
You gone.
That's competent. That's not
And you
incompetent.
and you left them as your executor and didn't even know it.
Yep. Yep. That's facts, man. You know, I asked another thing too, Rod. It was this hospital down here that they was doing that. They was robbing the Nubians. And what they would do is they'll figure out how much insurance they got. So they got a 700,000 insurance, right? So they say, oh
Hmm.
yeah, this guy. They will call them in and say, oh yeah, we got to rush you into surgery, and they don't gotta be in surgery. They say, oh well, they scared of people. Look, they really think they got to go into surgery for some. They go
They
in.
used that as a cover for when they was doing those sterilization surgeries too.
Damn,
They was getting paid to do them sterilization services surgeries by the government.
damn, that's
They got
crazy.
caught. You can look it up. They got caught. They was
Damn,
doing it all through the South. They was giving girls hysterectomy as early as 12 years old,
they getting paid to do it, and they was stealing
getting paid to
insurance.
do it.
Yep, and they will steal your insurance. They
Mhm.
stole this girl organs, and then charge her like she had 700,000. They say, well, the surgery cost about around 650, so that leaves you with this, and then we had to charge for her stay and this and that, so they only leave you about $6,000 to bury her out of the 700,000. Look, and then so the dude, it's a dude that I used to work with that was the dude that got him busted. He was the dude that went around signing people every insurance, and he saw what they was doing, and he called the FBI on them, and the FBI came down on them. Eventually,
you know who the first insurance brokers was, don't you?
who?
The lodges.
Go ahead.
The lodges and the guilds used to take burial insurance up for the members. So they always had the money to bury their brother.
That's right. Go ahead. You know what you're
right? And these became policies. Then you begin to bet on the policies. You betting on the three numbers, on the serial numbers, the last serial number of the policy. So when they pull the policy up, they get the number, and that's how you win the number, the penny numbers. All that came from the brotherhoods.
The Masons, right? Now, so yeah, I noticed that they do that.
They didn't have to be Masons. They could have been elks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have been. They could have been the Order of the Eagles.
Okay.
But then was the early insurance brokers. What happened was insurance got merged with banking.
Go ahead.
And made it into a bigger commodity. And then the policies became your state lottery.
Go ahead.
Right. So they've been trying to monetize everything we do. If they can't monetize it, they can only monetize it by making it illegal.
Go ahead.
That's why so many laws on the books. America have more laws on the books than any other country in the world, and they still making laws and lobbying to pass bills and laws.
So you can when you find a loophole, they make a new law to cover to patch that hole.
Yeah, that means that you're doing something wrong. You got to keep coming up with ideas to figure out how to keep doing wrong.
Damn.
But if you was doing right the whole time, you wouldn't have to worry about no loophole.
Right.
Because you would only catch them up that's doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you remember back in the 70s, they used to have those little skits on, and they were talking about the law, how you make a law.
Uh-huh.
Had Nipsey Russell singing on it.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Sitting up on Capitol Hill. I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a bill. Right? They was telling us as children how they lobby a bill into a law.
Go ahead.
Why is that important? The word lobby. You have something called a lobbyist. Right? A lobby is a gathering place outside of a major office or office-like location.
Go ahead.
Right? So you go into the lobby in order to meet the people from the offices, and this is where they have their dinner parties.
Go ahead.
Right? And at their dinner parties, the lobbyist is flirting with the politician to push money to his campaign, right, in exchange for passing this law.
Right.
Right. All the time, there's a group of individuals in a Masonic lodge writing the whole bill out. 22,000 pages.
Damn. And
they got to vote on it in 6 weeks. Think about that. Can you read 22,000 pages in 6 weeks?
Hell no.
And still show up and work from 9 to 5 every day?
No.
Come on, man.
So they just gonna pass without even look at reading it. They pass without even reading it.
They can't read it. And then, so now they allocating all, remember, they had a big show in the 80s. It was either 2020, 60 Minutes or Nightline, one of them news shows about government spending during the Reagan era.
Mm-hmm.
where they discovered that these mugs spent $5,000 for a single boat.
Go ahead.
They spent $250,000 for a single toilet seat. They cost $695 at the hardware store.
Go ahead.
Right. So they went over all of that. They got a whole room of people that was auditing the government's spending
Go ahead.
under the Reagan administration. Remember, Reaganomics was part of that was to minimize government spending.
Go ahead.
So he needed to know, how do you minimize it? Then they came up with something that they call it's something waste. It means that this government waste,
Right.
right? They started calling it the fat, cutting the fat off, trimming the fat off. That means taking off the unnecessary stuff out the bill.
Uh-huh.
But you ain't got time to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you got to come and debate the last book that was dropped off 2 months ago that y'all got to vote on this week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Right? So that bill might be another 22,000 pages.
So it's
So
safe to say. Okay.
this the game they playing with us.
So it's safe to say that, like Kanye West explained, this he explained the pyramid coming down with the Masons and everything. Now these Masons, because we got the Albert Pike letter, and Albert Pike gives his. Now he a frugal lord. He look like a frugal lord to me, but and the frugal lords are Yaku's drafted
He's a
beings.
Khazarian. He's a Khazarian Jew.
Yeah, that's the frugal lords. That's what Doc said. They are the descendants of the frugal lords, and that's what Yaku's drafted beings. The Khazarians. Doc said that the Khazarians are coming from Yaku's drafted beings. They mix with the Canaanites, right? He goes on. If you watch that whole thing I just put out with Yaku, that actually was taken the straight from the holy tablets, right? So Doc had wrote that whole setup and then pretty much explained the whole, and it also explains the black hand and all everything you've been saying, right? Now, so it's safe to say because Yaku had his own, he was kind of like square business, and I actually when I was putting that together, the trigonology book, I actually imagining all of what I thought Yaku would say and how he was, and I used my my astro traveling. I traveled to see, okay, how was this dude is. Then I seen him, right. I got a chance to see Yaku, how his head looking, everything, right, and how he would talk with his head bobble because he had a big ass head, but that nigga was kind of swole though looking. He was kind of like built like Tookie, and he could fight real good. After a while, he got good at fighting.
Remember, Elder, the guys are Gomer, Oz, Dabar.
Go ahead, Bill on that. Go ahead.
That's wisdom, strength, and beauty. Oz means strength. And some of them just look like a big brute with no muscle tone, right? He's a demigod. But the real, like when you look at all of the carvings, paintings of the Anunnaki, they all ripped up with 22-pack stomachs. It's because they more muscular than some of the other ones. This government about over with. Somebody asked in the comments, how can you be free from this government? This government has ran its course. It is no longer functional and no longer is of service to the people, and it's only at a service to bureaucrats and billionaire traders in human capital. So the government is about done. Donald Trump, when he get in, he gonna finish dismantling it from the inside, and then we gonna see what's what. Remember, we got a whole celebration. I think it starts Memorial Day next year, a year-long celebration, right? So
Yeah.
no,
So
the Anunnaki they don't have to work out. They got those genetics, but a lot of them do work out because it's culturally enriching, and they do it normally as a team or a group. But they got different exercises that they develop where they at from what we use to maximize their muscle development.
Hey, I got a question for you, Rod. Do you think Trump will give us full disclosure? I know he probably won't give full disclosure because he probably want to scare. If he tells them everything that they know, the motherfuckers probably be scared as hell and get scared of the government once he tell them what everything they've been doing. But you think that Trump is gonna reveal information about the extraterrestrials? Like he gonna tell more, like what Kennedy was trying to do?
Congress doing it now. He don't have to. By the time Congress get done with their disclosure, people gonna have enough sense to know that we sit down at tables and talk with these people from other places. They spilling the beans in Senate hearings. They've been doing it all week. It's a mild disclosure. When it get to the point of the disclosure where now you understand that we have to be having some kind of communication with these people, it's so obvious now you can't deny it because you're going to be had generals and admirals confessing to it. So at that point, you're going to know that we in communication. Then the next thing that follows that is the hard disclosure of what's been going on for the last 5 years across the land and around the world. We know what's going on, the ones that's paying attention, but a lot of people, the majority of the people, was following the media central intelligence program that they giving them on their nightly news. Why do they always have vampires against werewolves? It's the same story. It's the dirty Moors versus the righteous Moors. It's the
Right.
Europeans that came as colonizers and the people of the land. The werewolves is the one who wear the wolf pelt. The vampires and bloodsuckers that came to suck your baby blood.
The conquistadors, the Black Hand, Yaku's scientists. See, look,
Look,
you go ahead, go ahead.
in every Central and South American country that's encountered conquistadors, they all have legends of people coming ashore sucking their blood. Whether it's the great goat sucker chupacabra in Mexico and Central America, but they always got a blood sucker, right? The chupacabra became a legend in and of to itself, but normally they be humanoids. They look like people, and they suck your blood. They come, they snatch the women up, rape them, and suck their blood, drink their blood, cut their babies out, eat the fetuses. Right? These legends is based on the wars. They not based on the fairy tale of Hollywood vampire versus werewolf stories. They based on the real events of the people who use different forms of camouflage from the land fighting these people that came over here with them funny hats and them buckle shoes. And they frivolly, fluffily collars. Right? Walking around in blouses looking like girls with tight pants. That's who we was fighting.
Right? Wooden shoes, wooden teeth.
Yeah.
Hey, Rod,
Well, that's
another perfect
yeah.
example of that, and you might can go in on this too, is the movie that they put out called Avatar. And it's that storyline is based on Montaoka and Pocahontas, and a white man, free white man, came in an avatar looking like them, but he wasn't them.
Mm-hmm.
He used the avatar. He got into he came looking like
That's
them.
the Anunnaki story.
Go ahead, Bill on that.
It's the same story straight out of the Sumerian tablets. Unobtainium is gold. Iwas was the tree of life they cut down in South Africa. Iwas is the same spirit that talked to Aleister Crowley and told him to put all their secrets in public.
Go ahead.
So he put all their depravity out in the public and he used himself as a sacrificial lamb because he didn't want to go against the Great Mother. He told all of the Masonic secrets. He told all of the Golden Dawn secrets. He told all of the theosophical secrets. So when you go in there, you don't know what you're looking at, but he giving you the jewels of the equinox, right? So when you start seeing what's being done, the rituals be so obvious you can't miss them. They do them in your face all the time. Everything's a ritual. When you look up the word of ritual, it's something that you do all the time. You repeat it, right? And then you have certain circumstances that have to be present. That you ever notice that every coliseum is either a circle or oblong shape?
Go ahead. Go
Because
ahead.
you got to do all of your magic from the magic circle.
Go ahead. You going somewhere. The
When they
pentagon.
put the magic circle in the center of the eye, that's why they're oblong, because some of them is representing the eye, but it still got a circle in the middle, right? Optics, visualization, focus and concentration, directing currents of energy from individuals in order to move the mass machine. The more people that support, I'm not versed in the Clovis people.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my first time hearing it too. I'm gonna take
It
a
ain't
note.
my first time hearing it, but I haven't did any research on them, so I ain't finna be up here looking like I haven't been studying them, and I haven't studied them, but I have heard of them, but I don't know much about them.
Hey, I'm gonna take a note on it. We'll get back with you on that for sure. I'm gonna take a note on that and go look that up.
This is one of the good things about being exposed to this large group of people, because when they ask you a question you don't know the answer to, you don't want to be asked the same question twice without an answer. It make you go study more and more stuff, right? And the more you know, the further you go. And the marathon continues until you get to the finish line. That's when they wave the checker flag and you go to the winner circle. You're still in the circle. The winner circle is the most magical of circles. Only people in the winner circle is first, second, and third. Some of them are, but a lot of them have been silently removed from the land. They was easy to get because most of them, like 80% of them to 90%, somewhere in the 80% range, lived in gated communities across the land. And they couldn't stand us and talked about us like a dog. But then they the same ones be coming off all the marches talking about kill Whitey. But he the one telling Whitey what to do.
Black hand, white glove.
You dig? Look, Campbell's came from over here. Campbell is the symbol
Fact.
for the ancient and Arabic order, the nobles of the mystic shrine. Right? The shrine is the shrine of the Black Madonna, where they buried the remains of the Great Mother until she returned again as Empress Chakra Rarebird. And so the camel symbol, when you see it, even if it's a pack of cigarettes, Joku, whatever it is, when you see the camel as a symbol, know it represents the ancient Arabic order, nobles of the mystic shrine, the Shriners, secret brotherhood of the Sufi order, the red light.
And that's what I was asking. Why did the camels? Because the camels, they say they migrated from over here 6 billion years ago.
They
I'm saying
didn't migrate, we took them over there.
that's what I'm saying. Somebody had to be riding them joints. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, we
Yeah.
look, the elephant is not native to India, it's not native to Africa. The elephant native over here.
Go ahead. I was going to ask that too. That was my next question about the elephant.
The lion is not native to Africa. We used to send to palaces in Kemet lions from over here. That's how
Yeah,
they got over there.
they did a good
To the
job.
palaces of India's and the great royal family. Why did they stop using pale faces for servants over here?
Yeah, why?
You can't push an agenda called white supremacy, and then the ones you bringing over here to be superior is in bondage.
Yeah, go ahead.
It takes us back to Django. Samuel L. Jackson owned the house.
Go ahead.
That's why he was always the nigga in the house that told the white folks what to do. All slave movies, Roots, all of them, always a slave in the house that's telling the slave master what to do. And the slave from the field better not try that shit. And you wonder why we don't like house niggas. It ain't that we don't like house niggas. It's just that them niggas own the house. And nobody ain't want to tell us. So the title of this book is called White Cargo. Right? What's the name of the next one? See that? America's Forgotten Slaves, the history of Native American slavery in the New World and the United States. Now, this one I put in there for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because slavery wasn't allowed on this land over here. Right? If you read enough Native American history, you'll know it. Because the white man, the so-called white man that's writing, their history is telling us that they don't approve of slaves on their land. Our customs and tradition, you couldn't have a slave. You could have somebody to take in and help them get on their feet and send them about their merry way.
Mm-hmm.
But you wasn't allowed to have a slave. We didn't believe in that shit over here. That's why we ain't had no prisons. We ain't need none. Now all of a sudden we need them. What we need them for?